Greetings, this is Strange Aliens. Welcome to my video on war attack planning. One of the topics that regularly pops up in our clan chat is from lower players who are struggling to get good performance and consistent attacks in war, and they're asking the top players what they do that makes them regularly be able to get 3-star and good percentage 2-star attacks almost every single time. And the answer to that question is always good reading of the base you're trying to attack and planning out the attack strategy that you're going to be using. Whereas what often happens with these newer and less experienced players is they just take a standard army, jump into the base, pick a side to attack for and throw the troops in without any plan of how they want the attack to sort of play out and how to finish it to clinch those crucial extra stars and percentages. So over the years I've developed a mental checklist of all the steps I go through when I'm planning out my war attacks. So what I've done for this video is I've written those down into a document, and I'll attach a link to that in the info at the bottom of this video. For the rest of the video I'm going to walk through my planning checklist on a recent war attack, take you through all the steps, show you my thinking, and then you can see the attack in action and how the plan plays out. Feel free to drop any notes into the comments or make any suggestions of how the checklist could be improved. I'm evolving it all the time, so I'm always welcoming feedback. Okay, so the first step that's involved in this is we need to look at just get a general overview of the base, read the base, get a feel for it. So we're going to look, is this a standard internet base that I already know how to beat? Now, I've already got some ideas of how to beat this base. It's one I encounter from time to time, and usually the way is not to come in near those single target infernos because that's always roast to win, but to come in more from the side, round into where that multi-target inferno is in the middle, and then loop into the town hall from the back, clearing up round the bottom with troops where the defences are low. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is what level are the heroes. So we've got a level 70 queen there, reasonable warden, there's no royal champion in this base, and a reasonable king. So we've got to deal with that queen and have a plan to do that. Okay, next we're going to look at the level of defences generally in the base. It looks reasonably well levelled, the infernos are maxed. Most of the other defences, some of the cannons are maxed, but most of it doesn't look too badly. There's no scatter shots, which is noticeable, which will make my life easier. And then we're going to look at any obvious flaws in the base design, any holes in the base, particularly any weaknesses of defences we can exploit. Are there troops in the clan castle? In this case there are. And also, has anyone actually attacked this base yet? If one of your clanmates has already attacked it and you're doing a clean-up attack on it, watch the replay. That is absolutely essential. You can find it where all the traps, the infernos, traps, hidden Teslas and stuff are, which will make your planning much, much easier to do. Okay, so phase 2 or step 2 of the plan is looking at the key defences. So firstly I'm going to look at the expos. Are they on ground or are they on air and ground? If they're on ground, that pretty much dictates that I'm going to do an air attack and probably not a queen charge because of the damage of them. If they're on a mix of air and ground, that gives me options. I can go in air or I can go in ground without too much worry. They're not bunched together, so I don't have to worry about multi expos targeting the queen. So that's next, I'm going to have a look at Inferno Towers. I've got 2 in the top here. They're both on single target, so they're going to be high risk to my queen charge. They'll be high risk to high value troops like P.E.K.K.A.s, Electro Dragons. So I need to keep those high hit point, expensive troops out of that area of the base, or have a plan to deal with those. I've got a multi-target down here, so that one not a problem to the high hit point troops or the queen, but if I'm going in with hogs, bowlers, something like that, I'll need a plan to heal through that particular point. Okay, then I'm going to have a look at scatter shots. And normally on this base layout there will be scatter shots either side of the town hall, perhaps where the infernos are, with the infernos drop back a layer. There aren't any here, so I don't worry about that. I'm particularly looking for areas where the scatter shot covers to make sure that I don't end up running troops into a double scatter shot. Next we're looking at air defences. So I've got 1 air defence at the top and 3 clustered in the middle there. So if I could get a troop in and take out those 3 air defences, there's a potential for an air attack there, but actually getting a troop in there and clearing 3 air defences in the core of base is going to be hard. So that's making me think ground attack is going to be the best solution for this base. Next up, I need to look at where the CC will be triggered. So click on the CC, look for anywhere where I can perhaps jump in to get the CC nice and early, possibly that cannon at 9 o'clock. But other than that, I'm probably going to have to deal with the CC inside the base once I've broken in. What's in the CC? I know there's dragons in there, I think, from looking at other attacks in the war of similar clan castle levels. Finally, I'm going to look for places where there are heroes. So the queen up there and the king, so I'm going to need to deal with that queen because she's level 70. And then finally I'm going to look for places where there might be Tesla farms or other traps. So on to step 3, what we're looking about now is we're trying to sort of solidify our general strategy. So first off, is it a ground or an air attack? We've seen those 3 air defences in the middle of the base, we're going to struggle to get to them, so that's leading me to think ground attack. If I'm going to come in from the top, I'm probably going to need some kind of mass troops so that I can work my way through those single target infernos, and I think mass troops like hogs is probably going to be a good strategy for this. Okay, so queen charge. So how best to use my heroes? Queen charge. I've got to take account of those 2 single target infernos. I don't want to have the queen anywhere near those if I can. The multi-target, I'm not too bothered. So if the queen charge is coming in, particularly if I'm going to try and break into the base anywhere, I kind of need to have a plan to deal with those single targets. Sui hero is another strategy for heroes. I can't see any value for a Sui hero that I can get in to do major effect. Put the heroes in with a kill squad. I think I need to get more value out of the queen of this, so I'm kind of leaning towards a queen charge. Particularly I've got a plan which we'll talk through later where I think I might be able to get the queen in from the 9 o'clock position in and actually take the town hall from behind. Barb King, I'm probably going to use him to see if I can take those 2 bomb towers because they'll be at risk for my hogs, and also if the king can also take down the enemy queen as well, that clears a nice segment of damage from that base. Warden Walk, there isn't any opportunities for a Warden Walk here that would give any value, possibly around the 3 o'clock, but nothing significant. And the Royal Champ, I think I'll save that for clean up around the bottom level of the base to do that. So next up, siege machine selection. So I could use a wall wrecker to push troops in, but I'm kind of leaning more towards hogs on this base, so that's not necessary. Stone slammer would be good if it was coming in with air, but I'm not too worried. Battle blimp, I could bring the battle blimp in, I could send it in to take the town hall, but actually a more useful objective would be to bring the battle blimp in and take out one of those single target infernos, particularly if I take the one in coming in from 11 o'clock, bring the queen in at 9 o'clock, that opens up the whole of the area of the base to the queen without being able to target it by that single target inferno. And siege barracks, there isn't really any value in creating a funnel. All the stuff is inside the walls really, so I'm thinking battle blimp is probably my best route. And then finally, how to trigger the enemy clan castle. There's nothing really I can get in. What I'm kind of thinking is I want to clear that inferno to get the queen charge in, but if I drop the stuff in too early on the blimp, I'm going to trigger the clan castle, and I don't want the clan castle going over there and drawing the queen off, so I'm going to have to break in, I think, use the queen to clear the clan castle, blimp out that inferno, and that kind of gives me that strategy. Barb King on the top, and then hogs in from the sort of 12 o'clock position, loop around the base and take the rest of the base and finish off in this low damage area down at the bottom with the Royal Champion offering support. Okay, now we're on to step 4, which is about planning what we're going to do with the heroes. So as we've already decided, I think the key element of this is going to be a queen charge. So that's going to be the most important bit to plan and get right. So what we'll plan for the queen charge is where I really want to get the queen. Is what I want to do is I want to wall break this wall just there, where this cannon is, And then hopefully I want to get the queen to come in there, and then I'm going to jump her over here, and then hopefully jump her into this compartment here and wrap round to the Eagle artillery there. So that's the goal. So I'm going to need a wall break, and I'm going to need a jump spell across here, with the goal being for that queen is to take out bits of this base, hopefully take out the single target, the multi-target Inferno, which is going to be a risk to my hogs. If she can get the clan castle, she's probably going to engage the clan castle over here, and she's going to take out the Eagle, probably the town hall as well, hopefully. Worst comes to the worst and she walks out and round this. I don't think she'll walk here, because I think she'll go that way because of this little gap here. But if she does, she's going to walk around here and still take out some good value. If she walks around the middle, she should still take out the value, take out that. There's actually a missing wall piece just there as well, which will probably path her in. So I think there's a good chance of her being able to get her into the back of the town hall. Okay, so how am I going to make that queen charge work? So firstly, I've got to make sure she doesn't go either way. So there's a nice cluster of buildings down here in this sort of 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock position. So that is perfect. E-drag dropped in here with a Coco Loon should take out most of that area, and that will stop the queen going too far, and hopefully that will drive her into the base as well. Okay, I need to deal with something here. So probably what I'm going to do is Coco Loon, Baby Drag in here. As long as I can get those two buildings out, then the queen's always going to come down to cannon and work her way into the base there. So that's a good strategy for the queen. Right, so any risks to that queen charge that I need to worry about? The main risk that I have some concern about is this single target Inferno here. That, when you click on the range, comes out, and as soon as she jumps into this compartment where the jump is, she's probably going to be in range of that, and she's not going to be able to reach it. So I need to get rid of that before she gets too far into the base. So my plan will be to use a blimp and fly a blimp in from up here straight in there, open the blimp on top of there. That should take down that single target Inferno before it targets the queen, and probably it'll also lure the king and also take out the Expo. So I'm going to get a lot of value of that blimp with some Yetis inside, just to clear that bit of base and save my queen from a lot of risk. The big risk, I think, to this strategy is going to be that if I drop this blimp in right at the beginning of the attack, it's going to trigger the CC. The CC will pull out towards there, and then when the queen comes, she'll try and go round, and she'll reach into that thing with the CC, and the CC might draw her in an odd direction. So what I want to do is come in, do the jump, trigger the CC, deal with the CC down here where this cannon is, then put the blimp in before the queen jumps into this area and gets targeted. So the timing is going to be a little bit risky on that, but I think that's the best strategy to ensure that the queen deals with the CC and I don't get a weird CC split, and that I also take out that single target. Okay, right, next up I need to decide what I'm going to do with the Barb King. Okay, objective of the Barb King is I want to be getting rid of that queen. She's a big risk, and I probably want to path my hogs in later through the gap here. So if I can clear the queen and some of that out. And also, it's worth noting, there's 2 bomb towers there. If I'm putting in hog ground troops in that area, bomb towers are not what I want there. So if I can get the king in there to get rid of the queen, get rid of the bomb towers, that'd be great. I'm not sure the king on his own is going to be able to achieve that. So I'm probably going to also put in a P.E.K.K.A. probably over here to help deal with the bomb towers. So hopefully I should be able to get at least 1, hopefully 2 of the bomb towers and the queen out. And Grand Warden's going to come in with the hogs, and then finally I've got the Royal Champion. So I'm assuming I'll have cleared most of this base. The queen will have done that. What I'm going to do is I've got some high damage stuff over here, so I might be getting a bit low on hogs, so I'm going to save the Royal Champion for the end, and hopefully the Royal Champion will come through that path there and take out all of these weaker defences as part of my cleanup. So I've got my good plan for all of their support spells needed. I'm going to need rages for the Queen, probably going to need to rage in, sort of in here to get her through the clan castle, and a poison. I might want a rage over here once we start engaging all of this stuff. Might want to rage the Queen, the King, but probably won't do. I think I'll probably save my 2 rages for here and the jump spell, and probably bring a poison in just in case something goes wrong with the Yeti blimp there to deal with that. So that's my key plan for what I'm going to do with the heroes, which is the first sort of phase of my attack. And I'm confident that I've got a good hero plan, and I think I can get a lot of value out of the Queen. So that's kind of step 4. I know where my heroes are going and what I want them to do. Okay, so step 5 of the attack planning is all about building the funnel. Where am I going to get my main army coming into the base for, and what do I need them to get a funnel to ensure I want to go where we're going to go? So let's look at what we've done so far. We think the Electro Drag is going to take out that part of the base. Baby Drag there. The Queen's going to come in here and she's going to clear all of that. My Yeti blimp is going to come there. My King and Pekka are going to come and clean that. So I've already mostly got my funnel there. I've got the areas of risk that I need to think about. I've got these buildings here, which if I was using, say, troops that target non-defensive buildings like witches, bowlers, miners, I'd have to worry about them coming out this way. But I think my main attack is going to go with just a pure army of hogs. So the hogs are going to go in here. So I don't need to worry about that. I can leave that for cleanup. This side is already clean. So I'm fairly confident if I drop my hogs. So my hogs are going to go. Drop them up here. Actually, let's go to. So my hogs are going to drop up here. And my funnel is cleared there. My King has cleared the funnel there. I might want to save, put a couple of wizards, keep an eye on there, and perhaps clear there. So therefore I've got this lovely narrow channel here that goes down here and down here. If I haven't got the town hall already, by this time I probably will have taken up 50% of the base and the hogs will tunnel in. If the Queen has got the town hall, my funnel kind of goes like that. So I have got this really, really nice tight area here that my hogs are going to go through. And that is great. That is what I want, because I know I've only got to work my way through. All my hogs are going to stay together. They're going to follow this path. If I drop a hill, I know all the hogs are roughly going to be together on that hill spell. So that is the ultimate thing that I want from that attack, is I want to make sure I've got this funnel and then at the end they can spread out. So building that funnel is super important. This is a nice easy base to funnel because of the Yeti brimp, the Queen charge and the King over here. If you've got a more complex base where you haven't done, or you've done a Sui hero, then you need to think more about your funneling. But generally you want to get a good narrow path of buildings that you can see where your troops are going to work their way through the base. Get the funnel wrong, stuff wanders around the outside. Get the funnel right and you can make the troops go exactly where you want them. Okay, step 6, main army push. So this is where I'm actually now planning what I'm going to do with the hogs. I've got my nice funnel. I know my funnel is going to go in there and in there. That's my area where my hogs are going to come in from this way in through this funnel. So what are the objectives? I need them to get through this bit of high damage area here. So I'm probably going to want a heal or use the walled nobility there. There's splash damage from the wizard tower if that doesn't go down. There's Expo, potentially damage there, so that's definitely an area where I'm probably going to want to heal a walled nobility. If the queen hasn't taken down the town hall, the hog should come that way, so I might need to save the walled nobility for the town hall if the queen hasn't done the job there, but I'm hoping she should do. And then I'm going to come through here. Depending on what the queen's done in this area, I might need to save a heal for this splash damage and the multi-target inferno. Hopefully she'll take down the multi-target inferno, but my goal is to get the hogs round into this area here, and then we're into clean up. They'll meet up with the royal champion. If you remember from the planning before, the royal champion's going to come this way, and then the hogs and the royal champion will come through here around. So that's my main goal. I want them to follow down through, take the town hall if it hasn't been done, take the eagle if it hasn't been done, and sweep round into the back of the base. If I've lost too many by that point, we're good. So am I going to need any freeze spells? I've already said I'm probably going to use one freeze spell potentially over here, and I might want a freeze spell for the town hall. Probably I'm not going to need any more freeze spells on here. That I could freeze, but it's a single target inferno against hogs. Early on I'll have the full mass of hogs, so I don't think so. I think it is just heal spells through there. The rages I'm going to save for the queen. If it's an air attack, I need to consider where I'm going to use the haste spells. Grand Warden, I've already said, I'm going to hopefully pop it either road in the town hall or by this single target inferno, and we've got the royal champion plan. So that's my kind of like set up with my heroes, build my funnel, and then the main push of troops into the core of the base to clear out the last defences. Okay, we're nearly there. We've got our main attack done, so we're on to step 7, cleanup. So we know we've probably pretty much cleared all of that part of the base. We've cleared that part of the base, and my hogs have come through here with my royal champion and cleared out all the defense buildings. So what am I going to do? Clean up is the bit that is critical. If I want the regular, reliable 3-star attacks, not running out of time, not clearing all the defenses and ending up with like a 98, 99%, clean up is essential. So where do we need to clean up? I'm going to need to clean up a few buildings here, I think. I'm going to need these potentially. I don't think these are going to go down too early in the attack, so I'm probably going to need some wizards or something up there to clean those. I might need to consider some tropes there to tidy those 2 defences up. Probably going to need some wizard clean up here. And then I've got a huge amount of trash buildings down both sides that the Electro Dragon isn't going to get. The Royal Champion and the Hogs aren't going to target that until all the defences are down. So making sure I've got some wizards or some minions to focus on those areas and to keep an eye on them. There's nothing worse than getting sort of 98, 99% and realise you missed one building up the top here because you put all your cleanup troops down the bottom. So really think about cleanup. Always make sure you've got 2 or 3 wizards, couple of archers and a minion left at the end of your attack, just for getting those extra buildings, because that's what makes the difference between a really good 2-star and a perfect 3. Okay, and then the final part is step 8 is just looking at adaptations. What could go wrong? What could mess this attack up? So some of the things that I could get a failed wall break here. I'm using super wall breakers, so that's highly unlikely. Something could happen. There could be a cluster of air mines here. I could lose the Electro Drag or there, so the Queen might go up here or here. I think I've planned out well enough to know, but this is a fresh hit, never can tell. So I've always got the risk of the Queen going off in either direction, or something goes wrong with the wall break and I end up routing down this compartment here. Perhaps something goes wrong over here. There's a Tesla farm in the top and I lose the king early. Or something goes wrong with my Yeti blimp and I don't take down this Inferno and then the Queen dies out here. So I need to just be aware of the risk might be. So in all of those cases, my kind of real fallback scenario is drop the Royal Champion and some clean up troops down here. potentially some stuff up here, and then funnel straight in here to come in, wrap round, get the town hall. So if it all goes wrong, I've got a back out strategy with my hogs that should get me in with the Warden ability to grab the 2-star. It probably will be a low percentage 2-star, but it's better than a complete failure of the attack. And that's what you want to think, particularly if you've got risky wall breaks. What are you going to do if the wall break doesn't come off? The queen dies early, if your heroes don't achieve what they want to do, Siege Machine doesn't do its job. The Siege Machine, perhaps you're using a Wall Wrecker and it doesn't make it to the Town Hall, which you were intending it to do. What's your backup strategy for getting the Town Hall? If the troops don't go through the funnel, you miss a building and your troops supposed to go there and they end up wandering around here. What's your plan for getting them back into where you want them to go? So you don't have to plan massively about that, but it's always a good idea of having some idea of what could go wrong and how you're going to recover for it, rather than trying to sort of deal with it in the stress of battle. Okay, so we've got our plan made and ready to go. We've got our strategy, we've got our alternatives, we know what we're going to do. Let's put this into action and see the attack. And what you're going to see is the attack actually recorded live as I did it. Okay, we always check our troops, make sure that we've got everything we want, we're all set. Okay, we are going live in 3, 2, 1, go. Cocoon, drag. Cocoon, drag. Nice. Break. Baby drag, get that. Good. Damage CC, that's good. Let's get it down. Jump to get her into the base. Okay. Pekka. Okay. Roll bows. Okay, Queen, come out of the tornado trap, get into that base. Ability. Okay, let's start the main charge in through here. Champion on the back. Okay, let's put that there. Okay, okay, horse coming through. More champs with the queen. Okay, let's get some clear up over here. Horse in there, we'll hold the royal champ ability and use that to clear the last few bits. And here we go, royal champ ability. We've got 56 seconds left. Okay, that will do. And let's swag that ability. And one building left. Yay, it's a triple! Okay, so there we go, a successful 3-star attack, largely everything went to plan. I almost forgot the battle blimp and the queen got targeted early and I had to kind of pop her ability when I didn't really want to, so it was a bit slow there, but generally the execution was spot on plan, managed to get the queen in where we wanted and she was able to achieve all her objectives. The king did a good job taking down the enemy queen, so we actually then had a really easy job for the hogs and the royal champion. So that just shows the value of doing everything, following through to the plan. So hope you found that useful. the 8 steps through my checklist of how I read a base and then plan my attack. And if you look in the notes below this video, you'll find a link to my actual checklist document, so you can actually sort of download that, print it out, and then use that to see how you do when you do your war planning. Hope you found that useful, and feel free in the comments to leave me any feedback or any other suggestions on how I can enhance the checklist or alter it to make it more useful for everyone. And good luck with your war attacks.